You can put in steps to become wealthy. You can work to earn more money. You can work to be better at your money. But if you do not work on the things that made you poor in the first place, you're going to end up right back where you were. What's up, everybody? I am Jasprit Singh from theminorityMindset.com, where money minds rethink rich. If you don't want to be poor financially, you got to ask yourself, why do you want to have more money? What is the driving force inside of you that wants to have more money? What's interesting is how your answer changes over time. Like when you're young, chances are you want to have money. That way you can have a nice car, you can show off on Instagram. That way you can have all the nice things. But as you get older, those nice things start to have less value, and the freedom that money provides you starts to have more value. That way you can just enjoy life, have money to spend time with your family, and just be able to be free. A simple kind of exercise that you can do with yourself to understand the importance of having money is just asking yourself, what does not having money do? What does not having money bring? Because when you don't have money, that comes with stress. Now you gotta worry about how you're gonna pay your bills. That comes with financial pain, because now you can't get your spouse what they want. You can't send your kids off to college without a whole bunch of debt, and you can't go on those nice vacations with their family. So if you don't wanna not have money, you gotta avoid the 5 habits that are keeping you poor in the first place. That's the 5 things that I'm gonna be going over in this video. But before I do that, I need you to do me a quick favor and smash that thumbs up button below. The first habit that keeps so many people poor is having a poor mindset. You might have heard people talk about the difference between being poor and being broke, where being broke is a financial thing, you just don't have any money right now, but being poor is deeper. Being poor is where you have a broke mindset. When you have a poor mindset, it doesn't matter what you do out here. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter if you achieve wealth on paper. You are not able to live your life because you're still poor up here. So if you want to become wealthy, the first thing you got to do is break out of this poor mindset. And one thing that you got to do that is you need to stop finding the problems with everything. You need to start finding the opportunities. You know, I don't consider myself the smartest person or the most talented person, but one quality that I think I do have is the ability for me to find the opportunity when I see a problem. I mean, that's the whole reason my Minority Mindset started in the first place. I was working on a sock business and I got scammed by a fake marketing company and I lost a lot of money. And then I had to make a decision. Okay, what do I do about this? Do I just complain about it and cry about it, or do I do something about it? And so I decided to come on to social media and create this Instagram page called Minority Mindset, where I help people launch a business without getting screwed over. And I created this class on Udemy, which is no longer there, on how to launch a business without getting screwed over. That eventually grew. Our Instagram page grew. And then we grew to like 17,000 followers on Instagram when I had the idea, okay, maybe I should start a YouTube channel. So now I started a YouTube channel. And interestingly, as soon as we hit like 17,400 followers on Instagram, our Instagram page got hacked and it was deleted. Now I had almost no subscribers on YouTube. I had no Instagram page, no following left on Minority Mindset. I could have ended the thing right there, but I was like, you know what? This is an opportunity for me to now work even harder on YouTube. So now I dove even deeper onto YouTube, and now we have a YouTube channel with close to 900,000 YouTube subscribers, and we're building a whole financial media company all because of a problem that I faced. Now, I'm not trying to say, look at me, look at what I did. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say you gotta understand that all of us face problems. I talked about my worst real estate deal ever on YouTube. That way you can see the problems that I faced in real estate. Now I've been able to do much bigger deals because that problem showed me the opportunity and how to do real estate the right way. I even talked about when I got sued in real estate. That was a problem, and then I learned how to protect myself legally, and I learned how to be a better real estate investor. We are all going to face problems. That's a part of life. Now, we cannot change what this problem is, but we can change how we react to it. And the way you react to it is gonna determine how you live your life. Are you gonna live a wealthy life, whether we're talking about financially or just happily, or are you gonna live a poor life? Look, this is reality. We cannot change what happens out here, but we can change how we react. And so if you just beat yourself up and you just blame everybody else for every problem that you have going on in your life, you are not going to improve anything, okay? So now just ask yourself, when something goes wrong, what can you do? You can complain about it, you can point fingers, or you can do something about it. These are typically the only 3 options that you have, and I want you to look at what can you do about it to better yourself, because complaining about things and blaming others doesn't get you anywhere, but doing something about it can find you more opportunities to help you live a better life. The second habit that is keeping so many people poor is you are getting too comfortable with debt. I was at the mall a few years ago. This image is like burned into my brain, and I was at the checkout counter in front of me were these two girls who were buying some clothes. And they go up to the cashier and they check out, and the cashier says, "Can I interest you in a brand new store of credit card? If you get approved and you open it today, I can save you 15% off your order." The girl said, "Yes, that would be great." And then he goes away to go see if they can get approved. And the girls literally started praying in front of me saying, "Please God, help us get approved for this credit card." The guy comes back and he says, "Good news, you've been approved and you can save 15% off your order today." And the girls started jumping up and down because they just saved 15% on their order because of this brand new credit card. Now, look, credit cards can be a great tool. Like, I only shop with my credit card. But when you're getting a credit card just so you can save 15% off your order, chances are you're not using a credit card for the right reasons. Chances are, if you're one of those people, you're going to be going into credit card debt because a credit card to you is just a free money printing machine, and now you can buy whatever you want and pay it later. And you know what? This is the society that we live in, and it's only going to get harder. There are more and more companies coming out to help with this whole idea of you being able to buy something now and pay later, which means you get to be broke now and broke later. You've probably seen it if you shop online. When you go to the checkout page, there's a little button that says, "Would you like to pay for this order in installments?" What does that mean? Now you don't got to pay all this money today. You just pay it off in 6 months and add a little bit of interest on top of it. Back in the day, you'd hear people talking about getting big mortgages and then financing the car, and then maybe using a home equity line of credit to buy a boat. Nowadays, it's a little bit different because people are not just financing your home, your car, and your boat, but you're financing your clothes, your furniture, your electronics, your cell phone, your laptop, and everything in between. And let's not get started with student loans. I graduated with kids who had 6 figures, more than $100,000 worth of student loans, graduated school making $14 an hour. This habit is going to be hard to break away from because our society is going deeper and deeper and deeper into debt, where it's just completely normal to be drowning in debt. That's just what everybody does. And so now if you want to go on a nice vacation, you don't got to wait until you can actually afford it. You just put it on your credit card, or you just finance it or pay it off in installments because that's what everyone else is doing. You want to go on a nice vacation? Go ahead, pay for it later. Now you're spending the rest of your life paying off that trip to Cancun, plus interest. But at least you got to eat some guacamole. The third habit keeping you poor is sticking around in a toxic environment. The internet is great because it has opened the doors to opportunity and education to everybody in the world who has access to the internet. But the downfall with the internet is if you get sucked into this negative or toxic environment, you get sucked into this deep rabbit hole where it gets really hard to get out because now you're surrounded by people not just in your real life, but also in this digital life of everybody who just keeps talking about gambling and blowing your money and spending your money and all these things that are not helping you achieve wealth. They're just keeping you poor. We all want to have a sense of community, and I'll talk about our physical real life communities in just a minute, but we all want to have this community in our digital life too. And so people get drawn into these digital communities, whether it's in investing or sports betting, and the communities that get the most traction, that are the most hot, are typically the ones that involve the most risk. You have a lot of people jumping into the stock market, which is great, but you have a lot of new people entering the stock market to trade these high margin option trades, even though many of these people have never traded a stock or invested their money a day in their life. It's the same with sports betting. We have this whole new industry of sports betting with companies like FanDuel and DraftKings that kind of create this community around people betting their money on sports. When you gamble, it doesn't matter what the odds are. At the end of the day, the house always wins. If the people all around you, whether we're talking digitally or physically in your real life, are all broke, are all drowning in debt, and are all making bad financial decisions, what do you think you're gonna do? Because when you're in that community, when you're in that toxic environment, these things are normal. It is normal for you to be paycheck to paycheck, and it's abnormal for you to save money and invest money. And so now when you're in that toxic environment, it is just normal to continue being broke and continue complaining about life. But if you can transplant yourself from this environment to a different environment where people are talking about investing and living smartly, especially when it comes to finances, now if you're talking about gambling and living paycheck to paycheck, you're not gonna fit in this community because this environment doesn't want people like that. That's why your surroundings and your environment play such a big part in how you live your life. And if you want to go from this toxic environment to this growth environment, the first thing you got to do is you got to start learning. Because if you just start going into these other people, they're not going to know who you are. They're not going to want to talk to you. And so the first thing you got to do is start learning. Start reading books, change this environment you're in the digital world. Start watching good YouTube videos where you're actually learning things, you know, minority mindset. start learning things that will help produce a more growth mindset and a wealth building mindset, because now you're going to start thinking differently. I think we all kind of have to go through this transition phase and kind of change who we're around, because the people who we're around when we're younger might not be the people that's best for us as we start to grow. Because when I was younger, when I was in college, a lot of my friends were all about blowing their money, having all these nice things, having this kind of real exotic looking life. And as I started to realize that's not for me, that's when I had to start taking a step back and distancing myself. And I did that especially after I started reading these books, talking about this other life that I have never experienced. And that's when I started looking and kind of started this new journey, and new people started coming in my life naturally. Plus, the easiest thing that you can do is change what digital environment that you're in. What are you absorbing on the internet? Because as you do that, you're going to find new digital communities that will help you grow. The fourth habit keeping you poor is your priorities are all in the wrong place. Because what happens to a lot of people is they prioritize making money, but you don't understand how money really plays a part in your life. Because yeah, money is important, but at what cost? Because you know what? There's other assets in our life that are more important than money, like time. You can always make more money. There's no limit to how much money you can have, but there's a limit to how much time that we have. And so now one of the things that you got to do if you want to stop being poor is you got to start valuing your time more, because your time is your most valuable asset. If you do not treat your time wisely, it doesn't matter what you're doing with your money. There's a couple ways that I want you to look at this. The first is really just a straight financial perspective. If you can make $20 an hour from working at your job or wherever you're working, and you are spending a lot of your time doing things that are not making you at least $20 an hour in value, like you're mowing the lawn, which you don't like doing, and you can pay somebody else to do that for $10 an hour, now you are losing out on the opportunity to make an extra $10 an hour, because you can just pay somebody $10 an hour and work an hour and make $20. So the first thing you got to do is start putting a price on your time. Because if you're spending all your time doing things that are not producing any value for you, whether we're talking about cutting the grass, where you can hire somebody to do it at a cheaper cost than you could do it, or we're talking about playing video games all day, well, now you got to put a price on your time and see how much money you're throwing away by not using your time. The second part of this coin is you got to know how to use your time in the most efficient way possible, because there's only 24 hours in a day and you cannot work 24 hours. So you got to understand how can you extract the most value out of your time, that way you can attract the most money. This is where you got to understand the difference between active money and passive money, because active money is where you're physically working to earn money. This might be you going to your job. There's a limit to how many hours you can work, because you got to sleep, you got to go to the bathroom, you got to spend time with your family. So there's a limit to how much active money that you can earn, but there's no limit to how much passive money that you can earn, because when you talk about passive money, this isn't money that you're physically working to earn. This is money that you're attracting thanks to your money. So when you earn this active money, you want to take some of this money and send it off to attract you this passive money. That way now you have more money coming in and you're using your time the best way possible, because you're using the time to attract this active money, but you're also getting this passive money without having to physically invest more of your time. But in order for you to attract this passive money, you got to understand the number 5 thing that's keeping so many people poor. You're not paying yourself. Interesting, right? We're talking about the habits that keep people poor, and only now are we talking about how you pay yourself. When the majority of people make money, they get paid, then you got to pay your taxes because the IRS wants their cut. And now with the money that you have left, you're going to pay your rent or your mortgage, you're going to pay your car payment, you're going to pay your student loans, you're going to pay for your utilities, you're going to pay for your phone bill, you're going to pay for your laptop, you're going to pay for your furniture financing plan, you're going to pay to go out with your friends, you're going to pay for this vacation that you went on last year, and then if there's any money left, you're going to save it. But that's why we don't think like the majority of people. I mean, that is why we're the minority mindset. Because if you want to not be poor, you got to know how to use your money the right way, and that includes paying yourself before you pay everybody else around you and before you make everybody else rich. When you pay a housing payment, do you want to know who's getting rich? It's not you, it's your bank or your landlord. When you pay a car payment, do you want to know who's getting rich? It's not you, it's your car company or your bank. When you pay a phone payment, do you want to know who's getting rich? It's not you, it's your phone company. When you go out to eat, do you want to know who's getting rich? It's not you, it's the restaurant. Before you go out and you make everybody else rich, I need you to start using your money to make yourself rich first, and that means paying yourself before you pay everybody else. Now, when I say pay yourself first, I'm not saying reward yourself. I'm not saying go over to the mall, go to the Gucci store and buy yourself a brand new scarf, because the person that's getting rich when you buy that brand new scarf is not you. It's the Gucci store. I mean pay yourself, that way you are getting rich first. So when I say pay yourself, the first thing you gotta ask yourself is, who's getting rich when I pay myself? Psst, The answer is supposed to be you. The way you do that now is every time you get paid, I want you to take a little bit of money and put some aside for your savings. That way you have cash in case an emergency happens. That way you never have to worry about going into debt again. And then I want you to take some cash and put it towards your investments, because now you want to buy some assets, some investments that are going to pay you for owning them. An asset will be something like investing your money in the stock market, or investing in real estate investment properties, or investing in a business. Now, when you're investing your money in these assets, you're doing it for the purpose of making money, because now when you own these assets, you are the one that's getting paid. You can compare that to something like a liability, which is where now you're going to the mall, you're buying yourself a brand new wardrobe, or when you buy yourself a nice car, or when you go on a nice vacation. These things are nice and they make you look rich, but they keep you poor, because now when you buy these things, you are giving your money to somebody else and you have no money coming back. With an asset, you're giving your money to this thing. That way you own this asset. That way now you can keep having more money come back to you. This is the financial part of becoming wealthy, because if you do not do this, I don't care how much money you make. I don't care if you make $1 million a year, you're gonna continue to be poor, because when you're paying everybody else before you pay yourself, even if you make $1 million a year, you might have really nice stuff. You might live in a big house. You might drive a fancy car, you might wear expensive clothes, you might go on exotic vacations, but you have nothing left for yourself, because if the income went away, if your money went away, what are you left with? Nothing. You have a whole bunch of liabilities that you cannot get your money back from, because when you own a liability, you buy yourself a brand new car. Guess what? If you go to sell that car 3 years later, you're gonna get pennies for what you paid for it. Wealthy people get rich and stay rich by living below their means, and always, no matter how much money they make, always putting money aside to pay themselves first, because if you want to become wealthy and if you do not want to be poor, you have to prioritize your wealth before you prioritize everybody else's wealth. So before you pay Apple, before you pay Lululemon, before you pay Chipotle for their extra guac, before you pay Gucci, you got to put that money in your wallet. You got to put that money in your assets. That way you can build your wealth before you make everybody else rich. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, here's a video that I think you'll love, and while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our free finance and business newsletter. And as always, keep hustling. So go to school, study hard, get good grades, go to medical school, become a doctor, and now you are automatically going to be successful. And anytime I would talk to somebody about anything else, investing, money management, I was always shut down because nobody would talk about it.